so old they're calling me Mr.? My first name is Max.
Certainly out of respect.
Thank you, sir. Max Lanesman, 4911 Atlantic Avenue. I have a substantial investment in the area you're talking about. I would like to have some, what are these, you talk about bringing things up to code. I'm always up to code. They come inspecting and giving me the papers and everything else.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Lansman. If I may interrupt you and deal with that, and I didn't say it when Picky talked. We have code enforcement on a daily basis.
You're telling me?
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Mr. Lansman. For a while there, we were not as aggressive with cosmetic type of things, because we didn't think it was fair with this eminent domain to tell people, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then 3 months later, because we kept thinking that we were going to get beyond the lawsuits and move on, and then another one would come. So we thought we were always on the verge of getting the project done. So we eased up on the cosmetic issues because we didn't think it was fair. Go paint your house, pay the money, and then, oh yeah, 3 months later, we're going to come take the property. So we eased up on that. As far as safety issues, as far as COs and that type of stuff, we've remained diligent. When this kind of all fell apart and we sent it back to the zoning board, to the subcommittee, or planning board, I'm sorry, to the subcommittee to come back with the amendment, we even stepped up the code enforcement on many of those issues, which I'm sure that you've experienced. We've increased the police patrols in that area, which many of the residents have told me that they appreciate it. So we have stepped up. We always had code enforcement, but we eased up on some of the things for what we thought were valid reasons. But thank you very much for to tell us that our code enforcement is strong.
Well, I will admit also that a little problem. Kids were smoking pot, going up my alley and smoking pot. And I put more lights out, and more police have been coming around, and that has been eliminated as far as I know today, which was really, being that I've lived here all my life, it really was a surprise to me that this was going on in my backyard, so to speak. And is there a possibility to get a copy of these pictures, or do you have a small...
I'll post them on the website.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Rhoda, and I reside at 14 North Wyoming Avenue. I heard tonight that last night 5 amendments were passed to this ordinance.
The planning board did their final. We already had a recommendation, I think a month ago.
Right.
We did a recommendation to the board. The board reviewed it yesterday and passed.
All right, that's my point. It was passed. I'm sure you worked very diligently and hard, and probably long into the evening. So it's not even 24 hours that this new ordinance was passed.
Well, it wasn't.
But let me get to my point. That's my point. It was done very quickly. Not quickly, but it was just done last night, and it was added on to... Well, I want to tie this into with something else also. I believe back in '99, when redevelopment was first discussed and came about, a letter was sent to everyone in that area. I don't know if there's been any more communication sent. And since you just passed these amendments last night, and I was just wondering if this whole thing could not be reintroduced with the amendments. It would make Mr. Lopez happy, give them more time to review what you're talking about, and let the people in the area that live there more aware of it, so that they can come to a meeting when this comes up again, if it should, if it's done in that manner, and they can express their views. It's just that you did it back in '99, and no communications that I know of since then. I think it would just be a nice gesture on the part of the commissioners.
One point to make, the plan already exists.
I understand.
What we're doing is we're reducing it. So it's not like nobody's being adversely affected there in any way. So yeah, we can definitely, like I said, I'm trying to get as much information out as I can. I've sent out a couple press releases, but it's not like you're not losing anything. Nobody's losing anything.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but since you have made the changes, I think it's only fair that the people involved should be made aware of it in a timely fashion
If I could clear that.
before you pass an ordinance.
No, I understand.
I mean, I'm not an attorney. I don't know the
No,
legalities of it.
Your point's being
But-
raised, and they deserve an answer. The changes that were being made to the redevelopment plan, the large changes were introduced when the ordinance was introduced, and that's what's been made available to the public. Last night, in requirements of law, you have to have the planning board do a final review of any ordinance that's going to affect development. That you have to do within 35 days. Planning board went through it again last night, changed some minor issues about spelling and some words that were reversed. I think I had even mistyped one that said 10 instead of 7. That's one of the changes. But the changes were very minor. They merely just emphasized what was already in the original ordinance that was available to the public. So it wasn't where there were massive changes made, you know, at the 11th hour. These were just minor clarifications. It happens in almost every ordinance. Planning board last night dealt with another ordinance for construction fences, made some suggestions. Didn't change the intent of the ordinance, but added a couple things to enhance what was already being placed in there. So it wasn't a big change, Lee. I just wanted to point that out.
I understand what you're saying, and
thank you.
we all know that some words have two meanings, and a misspelled word can have another meaning. And I'm just saying, as a gesture to these people, if I lived in that area, I would want to know of any changes, and not at the last minute. That's all. I'm just saying it can be reintroduced with the changes. You don't make a change the night before and then pass it within 24 hours. That just doesn't seem right.
Thank you for your